What's going on, everybody? I just want to make a video today about the Hatsan Optima MPA shotgun. Basically what I'm going to be doing is a complete field strip and how to remove the trigger assembly. This isn't going to be a cleaning video. That one at some point will come along. For the time being, I'm just showing you how to take this down, how to take the trigger group out and then put her back together. So let's get started. First thing you want to do, quite obviously, make sure she's unloaded, good to go. Verify the chamber, you're good to go. I don't normally like doing the whole safety nonsense bullshit. It should be common sense, but you'd be surprised how many stupid people are out there. So, this shotgun is indeed unloaded. Excellent. Alright, so let's start with the disassembly process. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to quite literally work my way from the front right to the back. And I'm literally going to be taking as much apart as I know how to. So right at the very front, your flash hider, it simply just twists right off. Now I will show you guys real quick as soon as I get this off here. Holy fuck, these are long threads. As soon as you get your flash hider off, it comes with two different setups. You've got your flash hider right here, or your brake, and then you've got just a standard threaded muzzle cap, or a thread protector. So with this, what you can do is if you don't like that brake, you can just put it on like this and tighten it down with your tool or your wrench, and you can just have it with a thread protector rather than a brake. That comes with the shotgun. You get the two options. There are breeching choke options as well, should you so choose. So to take the shotgun down, you want to take this off right here, your cap, your magazine cap. Twist it off. Off she comes. Now, on some of the shotguns, this one doesn't have it in it, but some of the shotguns do have a plug if you're taking this gun out hunting, which I was not. I was target shooting. So, to take the handguard off, you push forward. You will need to use some force on this. And as you do it, it's actually going to try and take the barrel with it. So you want to hold the barrel and just slide it right off. You can't slide it so far and then pull down. It has to come all the way off, all the way forward. Okay, now the barrel. Do this lightly. Make sure you do keep a half decent grip on it because it is spring loaded. So just give her a nice little pull. And off comes your barrel. Okay, up next, you want to take off your smart valve or your smart piston along with the O-ring. Now the O-ring is going to be in front of it, so you can kind of just push it forward. Hopefully you can see that. This is your O-ring, so you want to get that off. Be fairly gentle with it. Now, this operates as kind of your seal for your smart valve, which controls how the gases in the shotgun work. You want to keep this fairly well lubricated, just because of the fact that, and don't let solvents touch it, because if this cracks and breaks, your shotgun's going to turn into a pump action real quick. Hatsan does, out of their graciousness, give you two, so if something happens to the ones in the gun, you have a spare. Why is this dirty? I just fucking cleaned it. Okay, so to slide the piston off, you simply slide it off. There's your smart piston. Or your smart valve, I think it's called. Now, to take your bolt off, you want to lock it to the rear. Or to take the bolt off, take your charging handle out, lock it to the rear, and just pull straight out. Off she comes. There you go. Now, for Christ's sakes, do not hit your bolt release because this will go flying across the room. So take a firm grasp of it with your hand, depress the bolt release, and just let her go nice and easy. And just slide your bolt and your carrier assembly right out. Now these parts hold together. I'll get behind the camera here and show you. Hold together like that, so you simply just lift up, pull away. And to disassemble your carrier, you just push forward and lift off. Now, why I tell you to push forward, you see that little bar right there? If you try to just lift right off, you're going to bend that, so you want to be careful. And here's your bolt. I'm not going to take out the firing pin or anything like that. I don't have a small enough punch to punch that hole, so I'm not going to do that today. It is very easy, though. Should have worn gloves. All right, next up is your spring. Just slide your spring right out, and it just slides right off. Okay, now let's get to the trigger assembly. So for the trigger group, it is very easy to take out. All you're doing is punching out these two pins, right here and right here. They are not in there tight. You'd be surprised how easy they actually come out, to the point of you're like, why don't they walk out during recoil? So I'm gonna punch these out real quick with my ghetto punch. Oh, you also want to make sure the hammer's cocked. You don't want to dry fire it before you take this apart, because if the hammer falls, or the hammer is down, it makes it a little bit difficult. I hope to God the camera's going to pick this up, but... You want to get them both started about halfway. Whoopsie daisy. You don't want to punch one fully out and then punch the other one out. Once you get them about halfway, you should just be able to tap them out with your hand. I knew that was going to happen. That's what the pins look like when they're on the way out, and you should just be able to pull them right out. Okay. So, I'm going to get behind the camera again so you can see this properly. And to pull it out, you just, again, push slightly forward and pull down. And there you go. There's your trigger assembly fully field stripped. You don't need to take this out very often. Hatsan recommends you clean your shotgun every 500 rounds. You clean your trigger group every probably 1500. But that's the trigger group. Now when you have the trigger group out, it makes a very detailed cleaning very easy on this shotgun. So that's out. And last but not least, to take the collapsible stock off, if you have a model with collapsible stock, this disassembly method will work for all of the Optima shotguns, both full stock and collapsible. For the most part, it'll work for the escort shotguns as well. For the trigger group, mind you, the bolt assembly and everything is going to be completely different because it is a pump action. So just keep that in mind. But to get this out, you simply just depress that pin, which I am doing incorrectly. Get out of there, you bitch. Yeah! There we go. I got it. And there's your stock. So now you have a fully field stripped Hatsan Optima shotgun, right down to pretty much the bare bones. You can't really go much further than this, unless you want to take the magazine spring out. I can't do that right now because you need a pair of C-clips to actually pinch this. There's a C-clamp in there. You need to pinch it and pull it out. I don't have the tool to do that at the moment, so this is as far as I can go. But this is essentially a fully field stripped shotgun. To reassemble, you want to take your stock, depress the button. You should be able to just use your finger for this. Push it in until it's about halfway. Just push it in until you hear the click. Make sure she's good and tight. One thing to note with this shotgun as well is the stock itself comes with a kit with shims, so you can adjust the height of the stock. So if you want it angled slightly more downwards or you want it angled slightly more upwards, you can use these shims to adjust that. Not a bad shotgun for $350. I gotta tell you guys, I am absolutely in love with this gun. Continuing our way forward, let's put the trigger group back in. So you want to rock it in. And then you want to line up the holes. I'm not going to be able to show this on camera just because it is impossible to do. But you just want to line up the holes. There we go. You'll have to do this by your own eye. Like I cannot show you on the camera, unfortunately. You just got to kind of do it yourself. It can be tedious, but it's just, you just got to work with it. Come on, you ugly fuck. Now the pins, they don't have any specific angle. They can go in both ways. Son of a bitch. This was a bad idea. It was so much easier the first time. It's only when it's on camera that it goes wrong. I think I got it. Nope, I don't. Just on the record, I am making this look a lot harder than it actually is. So when you see me struggling, I can almost assure you it is not going to be this difficult for you. I'm just a retard. Alright, that should be it. There you go. You just want to make sure it's flush with both sides of the shotgun, which this one is not. There you go. So you can see how the pins are now flush back to where they were. That's perfect. That's the way you want it. Now, let's continue. So, when we're moving our way forward on the shotgun, first thing you want to do is put your spring back on. Now, the bolt assembly can be a little tedious to put on. This is where it's going to start to get a little tricky, especially to the inexperienced with this shotgun, like myself. So, to reassemble, you want to hook it back in. Now, they don't lock very tightly into place, so you have to be careful. Take your bolt and angle it downwards and hook it in. And you can see, you can test it, because it's spring-loaded, and you can see how the locking lug pops up and down. Now this is where the tedious part is going to start to kick in a second. Alright, let's do it. There we go. Now, unlike something like a Remington 870 or something, you don't have to hit the tabs to push the bolt in. There's no tabs or anything that you have to push to get it to lock in. If you are running into resistance where it's not going in, you're doing something wrong. Pull it back out and try again. Try lining it up. It should just smoothly just go right in. Now, as I said before, this is where it gets kind of tedious, is putting the handle back in. So again, you have to kind of line it up. I can't really show you, just because of the way the lighting and the camera is, but the bolt itself has a knob, or a notch. It has a cutout where the charging handle can slide in, so you just have to kind of work with the bolt and line it up, right like that. Oops daisy, adjust that back in. At times, you'll wish you had 3 hands. I can promise you this. There it goes. Okay, and then you can just lock it to the rear. The shotgun, when it is empty, will always lock to the rear, no matter what. You don't need to hit any special button to lock it to the rear, like a bolt stop or anything like that. You just pull it back and she'll lock. So next up, let's put your smart valve on. So you want to do it so that the black O-ring portion, now these aren't actually O-rings, these are metal, is facing towards the bolt. So, like shown, slide it all the way to the rear. Now the O-ring, this is going to kind of surprise people. While you did see the O-ring on the tube, that's not actually where you want it. If it moves during firing, that's its own thing, let it do that. But you want your O-ring to be inside where the piston is going to ride. And you'll see it on the inside. There's a little ledge where this sits on. So you just want to get that down in there. and let it sit down inside that ledge. If it moves from there, that's fine. You don't need to worry about that. Now, for complete reassembly of putting the barrel back on, the bolt actually needs to be forward. And again, this is where it does get a little tricky. Semi-autos are not as easy as pump actions to assemble and disassemble. So now you just line it up, push it in, and you got to kind of wiggle the bolt back and forth, but there you go. And you just got to kind of wiggle the barrel back and forth, back and forth. She will eventually go. Now, it is under spring pressure at this point, so the barrel itself is actually pushing out slightly. So you want to make sure you hold that in place. So you want to push down, take your handguard, and slide it right over the front. Now the handguard will not line up properly. You actually have to pull it down just like a hair and push it in, and you'll see it line up with the seams perfectly and lock in. So now you can lock your bolt to the rear. Now it's no longer under spring pressure and the barrel's not trying to push off of the receiver. So now you can put your cap back on. You'll start hearing it click. Get this fairly tight. Like, not like tight to the point where you're never gonna be able to get it off again, but you want it to be like good and tight. Not snug, but tight. That way you don't need to worry about it walking out on you during excessive firing sessions. Now for the muzzle cap, or the brake, there is an O-ring on here. What that is to help absorb recoil, so especially on the muzzle end of the shotgun, and you don't need to worry about your brake or your cap just working its way off. So put that on, and you'll just spin it, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. So turn it clockwise to tighten it back on. You want to get this fairly tight. And there you go. That's how you fully disassemble and reassemble a Hatsan Escort shotgun. Or Escort, Optima shotgun. The Optima Escort, it's the same brand. Now, if you want, you can install a shotgun side saddle on these bad boys. This one is a King Armory side saddle. To install this, all you're doing is literally what I showed you with the trigger group disassembly. And instead, you're just putting through 2 screws. Rather than putting the pins back through, you'll put the 2 screws through, put a little Loctite on them, lock it in. I will do an install video on how to put this on, the side saddle on at some point. I just gotta find the time because I need to buy a second one. Set this down here. And for the record, yes, I bought 2 of them. And you don't judge me because there's lots of people out there that own multiple AR-15s, so I bought 2 Optima shotguns. I don't know why, but I did. Right on. Thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you guys next time.